Hi, my name is Marianne Miller, and I'm here at MomoCon, Georgia, with Jennifer Hale and Mark Meer from the Mass Effect series. It's great to see you. Thank you for taking the time. I have a question for you, many in fact. I was wondering if you guys have any experience playing the Mass Effect series, and if so, did you guys have any particular characters that were your favorite to interact with, or anyone that you would have picked as a romance option?
Well, I did do full Renegade and Paragon playthroughs of 1 and 2. I haven't got around to my full playthroughs of 3 yet. So, yeah, there were definite favorites. My Renegade, for example, was very good friends with Rex, and then later with Grunt, and just supported. Even though he was the Renegade, he supported the Krogan no matter what, even if it wasn't necessarily the Renegade choice. And having both characters, I had a fair number of romance options. Let's see, my Paragon romanced Liara, and then Tally, and then my Renegade romanced Ashley, and then Miranda. And so we'll see what happens in 3. Could be.
I should go. My little secret is I suck at playing games. I don't ever have any time. I spend a lot of time, doing them, and when I have any free time, I want to go outside. But I did play 2 for a little while. I had 2 for an interview that I did, and it drove me crazy because I just wanted to go back in the booth and tweak it. I just wanted to go back in and tweak my performance a little more. I just couldn't let it go. I need to lighten up.
It's just the problem with being a perfectionist. Were there any particular moments that you felt were like really defining for Shepard, or anything that really stuck out to you recording or while playing the game? Or for you especially, like, do you feel that any moments like while you were recording maybe didn't come across as powerful in the game as they were in the booth, or vice versa?
There's one moment from 3 which has been the source of much amusement for me as well, where the possibility that Steve Cortez might die. So it's the famous Steve yell. And so essentially we recorded various intensities of that, from just Cortez to Steve, and it also depended on how well Shepard knew Cortez, or whether Shepard and Cortez were in a romantic relationship. And so the one that ended up in the game was the one where Cortez, or the option when I was recording it, is like, okay, this is the one where he dies and you were together. So it's the most intense one, and the one that's filled with the most pathos. Somehow in the game it ended up that is the only one that is used no matter what. So even if it's like you barely know him and he's fine, it's like, Steve, you okay? Yeah. Yeah.
That's my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Concatenation.
Yeah, but I found it quite amusing. That was quite funny. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, the question was, I got so caught up in Mark's story.
Let's see, moments where
Anything that was particularly like really character defining for you, a favorite moment, or maybe something while you were playing the game that felt really great in the booth, and then you watched it and you were like, wow, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, well, that happens all the time because, again, it'll drive me crazy. I'll be like, oh, if I'd known that detail, I would have done it this way, and that's more true for that. So that's another reason it's just not good for me to watch my own work back. But defining-wise, the saying goodbye to the team, those were really freaking hard to do. My favorite moment, I have to say, was Caroline was directing me over Skype because she was in Edmonton and I was in LA. And I got to this one line and I couldn't talk. I was like, couldn't talk. Otherwise I was going to burst into tears, and Shepard does not cry. And I and I got it back together and I did the line and I was like, Caroline? Dead silence on the other end. And I hear, yeah, okay, hold on. I was like, oh, I got her. I got her. So.
Yeah, as far as defining moments, we were talking earlier in a panel just about this. The final scene with Keith David as Anderson in 3, that one. Yeah,
Right?
Yeah, that was awesome.
I have to get there still.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, and I've got a real soft spot for all the Renegade interrupts. Yeah, because even when I was playing Paragon, it was so hard not to do the Renegade interrupts. They're really cool.
Sometimes you just got to punch someone in the face.
Exactly, or throw someone out a window, or what have you.
Now, I have a question, and speaking of the panel, you mentioned that you worked for BioWare in 1992 on Baldur's Gate, and something I was
99. Yeah.
99.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Something I was wondering was, did you notice any differences, or was that before BioWare got not bought out but joined up with EA?
Yes.
Have you noticed any differences between the way that they recorded things or produced things or interacted with you between before when they were just BioWare and then when EA took over?
I'd say that any changes are really just the result of advancing technology, because when we started doing the first Mass Effect game, for example, we were still using paper scripts, and several forests died, I'm sure. There was always just like a huge stack in the recycling bin of your scripts. And since then, we've moved on to a system called Veda, which saves a lot of paper, and it's you've got your lines displayed on a computer screen, and the real advantage of that is you have everyone else's performance in your headset.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
you're not acting into a vacuum. You're reacting to the other people's performances, unless you're the first person to record.
Yeah. And we were first in a lot of the time. I know
Yeah.
I was first in a lot of the time, so I was in the vacuum going, I wish I was coming later. And then when I'd come in later, I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
It was always great when you, especially like doing scenes with like Keith David or Seth Green or Lance Henriksen, where they're already there, and I was a big fan of all those guys before, so having them in the booth was always fun. I guess if you were the first to record, you did have the advantage of you're setting the tone, and then everyone else is reacting to your performance.
No, Jennifer, obviously Shepard, I would say, is probably one of the most iconic female characters for modern gamers. How does it feel like being able to be the voice for that character and being able to represent like such a powerful woman in gaming, which is pretty uncommon right now?
Yeah, I feel like one of the luckiest people on the planet. It's an incredible, it's like Sigourney Weaver being able to do Alien. I mean, come on. That's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and we need more of it, and I've just become like rabid about attacking writers going, why can't she be a woman? Why can't it be a woman? The poor writers are running from me when they see me come. It was incredible. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and it's a huge honor. Yeah. See, Mark and I should stand back to back. We're like two sides of the same coin.
Yes, we see. Yes.
Now, Mass Effect's ending, Mass Effect 3's ending, kind of caused a bit of controversy. Do you guys have any particular opinions on the amended and the original endings?
Well, the original ending, I had no problem with in recording. A lot of the issues I think that people had were in terms of clarity and wanting to have things filled in for them. And I think the extended cut really did address a lot of that, and particularly Citadel, the DLC that just came out, really in terms of relationships and getting a chance to say goodbye to the crew, and I think that was addressed. And I do have to say that in the extended cut, I really like the Control ending. Not just because we got to voice it, but also, Shepard becoming this immortal Reaper god machine was kind of cool, I thought.
That is very cool. And I think that endings are hard. I don't want to hear a complaint from anybody unless they're a writer. I mean, of course, I do want to hear their complaints, but I think those complaints will be a little different if you're a writer and you understand writing. I mean, as I understand it, because I am not a writer, endings are hard. And especially an ending where it's being co-authored by tens of thousands of players. That's a tall order. And I like that people got all worked up about it because it means they were really invested in the story.
Yeah.
That is not a bad thing.
Yeah, I'd say the controversy just showed how deeply people felt about this story and the characters involved. Right. And they, again, they wanted a chance to say goodbye to all these characters. And with all the DLC, I think, as I say, all the issues have been addressed. And I think BioWare especially did a great job on the Citadel. Like, it's just, it packs in a lot of fan service, I have to say, yeah.
BioWare usually does a great job.
Yay, Casey.
And speaking of BioWare, there have been rumbles about a new Mass Effect game, not necessarily Mass Effect 4, since they have explicitly stated that the Shepard story is over.
Yes.
So how do you guys feel about saying goodbye to this character that you voiced for like the last 6 years?
Up until now, we haven't really had to say goodbye because we knew that there would be future DLC coming down the pipe. And so, I did a little Twitter farewell to Commander Shepard on the day that the last one was released. And it is sort of just, wow, it's this is a character that both of us have been on a journey with for like 7 years or, maybe almost 8. And at the same time, I don't expect that we've seen the last of the Mass Effect universe because it's such a fully realized fictional universe. They've done such a great job creating the history, the various cultures, and how they interact. And so, it's as fully fleshed out a fictional universe as you're going to find. So, I'm sure there's going to be future adventures.
Yeah. I mean, people love it and they want more, and I don't. BioWare's a smart company, and I don't think smart companies leave needs like that wanting for long. Right. Yeah.
And one last question regarding Mass Effect, Paragon or Renegade?
Well, as I mentioned, I do 2 playthroughs. I always play Renegade first, so that when I do my Paragon playthrough, I feel like I'm redeeming myself for being such a jerk the first time on the way through. Yeah. So I do both, but Renegade first, then Paragon, just so I'm not left feeling like a jerk.
I always say Paragon's who I would like to be, and Renegade is what I would like to say.
Just want the courage to do it. Mark, you're actually in a bunch of web series now. So where can people look to find you now that they can't get their fix with more Commander Shepard?
Well, I do a national radio show in Canada called The Irrelevant Show. And even if you're outside the broadcast area, it's available as a free podcast at cbc.ca/irrelevant show. And whole episodes as well as sketches are up there. We're just in the middle of recording our latest season of that. Also, I do a show called Tiny Plastic Men. That's on Super Channel. Sadly, currently only available in Canada, and you have to subscribe to Super Channel. But we have recently been renewed for a second season of that. So yes, there'll be more episodes that you can't watch. But hopefully that will be amended soon. There is also Versus Valerie is a web series that I'm guest starring in. That's my friend Mike Fly and Simon Fraser, and alumni of my theater company, Rapid Fire Theater, Hannah Spear. She's the lead, and that's filmed in Toronto. I guested, I think, in about half of the episodes of the new season. They just dropped. They're at versusvalerie.com, and new episodes come out every 2 weeks. Nice. Yeah.
And Jennifer, you are probably working on a few video game projects.
A few, but they'll kill me if I talk about them. Let's see, what can I talk about? Shaolin Chronicles, working on that right now, doing a little bits here and there on the regular show, working on Star Wars Detours, working on, I can talk about Knack. I can say that I'm in it. It's the new PS4 game. And Halo 4, and what else? Fuse is coming out, got that going on, and I think by the time this comes out, I can say that I'm in BioShock Infinite. Excellent. So, yes, yeah. You know, just, and also David Hayter of Solid Snake is an incredible writer, but he's just directing his first major feature, and it's called Wolves, and I'm in that. So I have a small role in that as well. Is it a werewolf movie? It's a werewolf movie, baby, and it is so good. I am not even kidding. Oh.
Well, that's awesome. I can't wait to check out all of those, especially BioShock Infinite. Anyway, thank you so much for coming, and thank you for watching. You can get more news and video game reviews at gamerfront.net.